So it's really interesting to me. I love how the universe works because Keeley, I don't believe, had any idea what I was going to talk about today. Kim spoke, I mean, she picked prosperity, and yet both of them, um, it's intricately tied to what I'm going to talk about today, which is the creative law of life or prosperity. And this book, as I've said, although she calls it the dynamic laws of prosperity, if you don't own it, buy it, put it next to your bed. I mean, it's there's things in here I'm like, seriously, Gayle, why aren't you doing this stuff? Why aren't we doing this stuff? I know. I'm not going to call myself lazy because that would be counterproductive. And yet, I know I start doing stuff when I need to do it. For instance, when I bought this book, as everybody who knows me well knows that my bookshelf, everything is filed alphabetical by author. So I bought this book and I went to put it up on the bookshelf, and lo and behold, I now have two. One for me and one to gift. That's when I know it's about time I pick up the book and really read it. So in the Bible, it says, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. That's Matthew 7:7. And so Kim quoted physicists and astrophysicists, and Keeley sang that song. All we have to do, we hold the key in our trembling hand. All we have to do is use it. So what prevents us from using it? What stops us from making this creative power work in our favor? What is the magic key? How involved is it? How much time is it going to take me? Oh, good God, right? So you'll notice under your chair, I want you to pick up yellow pieces of paper. If you're on the end, pass one piece per person. If you're, yeah, they're on the table, so everybody get a piece of paper. And because I want this to be kind of a working Sunday service, if you will. Oh, you're going to need a pen. It takes more than paper. So here's the big thing you're supposed to do to really ignite the creative process in your life. Because I bet all of you, do all of you have like that super desire? Everybody got a real desire that they want to manifest in their life? Yeah, right? How many of you have it written down somewhere? How many of you look at it every single day? It's not a high percentage, but I'm glad there's some. You notice I didn't raise my hand. I actually have bought a new notebook that I'm going to use because I think this is powerful. It's like the missing link. I think it's powerful, and I think it's easy, and I think that for me, I get so busy doing what's in front of me, I forget to take that little tiny bit of time to proactively do something for myself, to put steroids, if you will, on my life. And I use that word lovingly because when people ask me about practitioner training and then they knew I was a minister, they said, what is ministerial school like? And I said, it's practitioner training on steroids. Because there's just more, there's just more. It's magnified. And so I do love my life, and yet I know that there are things that my heart really desires that haven't manifested yet. And yes, there are a lot of people that think, oh, I just keep it all up here. And I do. And sometimes we start a Sunday service and I forgot to save the PowerPoint. And so we had last week's Sunday, if you were here for that debacle. So, it's good to write things down. So the creative process to really work is, and you can start now while I'm talking, is to write down what you really desire to manifest in your life. Make a list. That's the first step. Just make a list. You can, anyway, maybe some of you, I am a good multitasker, even though people say you're not supposed to be able to do that. I was trained at 18 by AT&T to be a multitasker. I swear I can do it, and I'm good at it. So if you're not good at it and you feel you'll miss something I'm saying, then You can do this when you get home. Just take the paper with you. But make a list. What is your heart's desire? What is it you would like to manifest in your life? It could be personal. It can be financial. It can be spiritual. It can be emotional. It can be one list for all four of those. What is it you want to shift and change in your life and experience more of? And then if you're like, I don't know, because sometimes we're afraid, aren't we? We've been told as small children not to talk too much about ourselves, not to whatever, don't do that. People will think you're bragging or whatever. So you're not sharing this list with anybody. Go ahead and brag. And if you're stuck, turn the paper over and list all the things that aren't working for you in your life. Because sometimes, as humans, that's the best place for us to start. Because we can say our stories in a heartbeat, can't we? Somebody says, what do you want in your life? And you kind of stumble. Say, well, maybe. And somebody says, what's not going good in your life? And boy, from the time I was 2 until now, I can tell you every disaster that's ever happened in my life with detail. That's what we're good at. So start there. That's okay. Because when you start there, at the bottom of the page, what you're going to write is, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And then you're going to look at that and think, if I don't want this, what is it I really desire in my life? What if that went away? What would it look like, right? What would it look like if I gave that up? Write it down, because here's the thing. Your intuition knows what your heart's desire is. And sometimes we have been so busy being busy, or so busy playing small because we've been told that we shouldn't be as big as we're supposed to be, that we're afraid to express what's our heart's desire. What is that? What does that look like? What does it feel like? Right now, though, just make a list. Be bold enough to make your list, one or the other, or both. Make a list of people that are still walking across your mind with their dirty little feet because you haven't worked that forgiveness yet. Write them down so you can let go of them. Make a list. And then 15 minutes. 15 minutes every day. That's not that long. 15 minutes every day. This and my 15 minutes of exercise that I'm still not doing, I swear to God, my life will be golden, those two things. In fact, on this list, it's going to be the thing. I exercise 15 minutes every day. Somebody literally said to me, Gayle, you just put your exercise equipment, and I said, it's out. I trip over it to get to the couch. It's not that the equipment's not there. It's not that I know I probably should be doing it to make my heart healthy. It's that I forget. What is that? So I got to go back over here to the list to say, this is it. And not that I want to do it, not that I'm going to promise I'll do it, not that I will do it. I exercise 15 minutes every day. And someday, hopefully, I'll be able to say I exercise 30 minutes every day. But on your list, we don't intend, we don't say I will or I'll try. It's done. Your list is done, because in the mind of God and in your mind, once you've said it as it is done, the universe is going to work in your favor to make that happen in your life. And I think that's what scares us the most. Truly, I think that's what stops every single one of us from really having our good, is because, oh, goodness grief, what if I really got that? What if that really happened? And because we don't know, we stop ourselves from the experience, because there is that little person that's telling us, you're not good enough. too young, whatever it is your little person on your shoulder tells you. I have my own. Everyone has a personal one. I call it the monkey mind. And you could picture a little monkey on your shoulder. And it's not the kind little cute monkey. It's the monkey with the teeth. That is constantly walking in your brain cells, repeating over and over and over again some past hurt, real or imagined, that stops you in your tracks from doing any practice that will allow you to step out of mediocrity and step into grandness. God wants us here to be grand. If we are manifestation in forms of the divine, it could be tiring, can't it? Right. It's like, oh, where will I find the time? So here's some of the things that I intend. And this is I'm going to have a Genesis list. I'm going to have a personal list. I'm going to have a let this stuff go list. That's why I bought a little 5 subject, and it's yellow. It's delightful. I already have one in green, just sharing too much. So for Genesis, some of the intentions. There's an administrator here on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that handles all of the administrative things that go on here at Genesis. I'll be more clear when I write it down. Every seat that I look at right now has a body in it. Breathing, vital, energetic. This place is full. I can see it, I can feel it, and I'm going to write it down. Because I've always been able to think about it. I've never had the courage to write it down and said, this is it. I'm done playing small now. Now I'm going to play bigger. Each one of you. See, that's the thing. If you really believe this philosophy, which I do, each and every one of you is a manifestation of spirit and form. Jesus with your own name. Every single one of you. He was not the great exception in what we believe. He was the great example. The opportunity for us to come on, people, love your brother. It starts there. Or as Kim said, if I see God in everybody, everybody will see God in me. And I think deep down inside each one of us, that's all we want. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be respected. Every single one of us. However, that is not going to happen if we don't start with us. I need to see other people. Really see them. I need to listen to people. Really listen to them. Not have a conversation with somebody and multitask with my cell phone. Really listen to people so they can be heard. And then respect everybody. Now here's the deal. It doesn't mean you're going to play with everybody in the universe. There's too many of us, first of all. And it doesn't mean that you're going to see some people and go, huh, what was it that Edwin said? Isn't that curious? Isn't that curious? And yet respect them enough to know that they're here doing the best they can. They too have a story that is probably still driving their bus because they haven't had the opportunity to to decide to live their life differently. You, by looking at them, may give them that little bit of light that says, maybe I want to be a little bit different in the world. So it's about writing it down, really making a list, checking it twice, actually making a list, checking it daily. 15 minutes. And here's the thing about your list. You do not have to write it in pencil. However, it's not stagnant. You don't make a list and then go, yeah, that was fun. I'm glad she had me do that. That was fun. You want to pull it out and you want to look at it and go, yeah, I need to either reword this one or not right now. I don't want that one right now. Now, with your list, when you really get brave, how many besides Mike and I grew up in corporate America? Oh, wow. It's getting less and less. That excites me. How many of you have heard of SMART goals? Specific, measurable, thank you, attainable, realistic, and timely. So, out of your list, pick one. Because here's what it's not that you're not going to have it all. Pick one. Because when you reach the one, some of those other ones are automatically going to move off your list. It's the way it happens. Pick the most important one. The one that would absolutely light you up. And then you and the universe decide. It's specific. Is it worded so I can measure it? When it happens in my life, will I be able to know, whoa, this happened? Is it attainable? Most of the time we can say yes, right? Because we know it's an unlimited universe, so it's unlimited. But is it attainable? Is it realistic? There's a story in the book where she talks about a doctor who really wanted to expand his practice. And so he put what it was going to look like, and it scared him. And so instead of listing what it was going to look like, he backed it up to, and this was a financial goal for him, he backed it up to weekly. This is my expectation weekly of my financial good. And his body said yes. That's how you know if it's realistic. If you write something down and your body gives you the, whoa, then don't change the intent. Just back it down a little bit. Chunk it down. I could say, I know that next Sunday, 250 people, So Sunday, September 30th, 250 people are sitting in these chairs in this center at Genesis. And every fiber in my body goes, that's a big jump. So who's going to stop that from happening? Me. That's why I need to chunk it down. Because if I really believed it, if I had not been told stories from a lot of different people about why that wouldn't happen, you can't go from this number to this number. You know, there's statistics out there, there's research done. It's just not going to happen. If I hadn't listened to all of that, if my body was just like, yeah, dang it, it would happen, because that's how the universe works. However, I listen to my body, and my body is like, you might not even want to say that out loud in front of all these people. Right? So when your body does that, don't change the goal. Just chunk it down. Just get it to the point that your body says, okay. So it's that place of to be willing, to be willing, to be willing. Do you understand what that means? Your soul knows how magnificent you are already. It knows. However, your human side is playing havoc with your soul all the time, saying, yeah, no. We built this wall around her for a reason. Protection. We got to protect her. And so your soul needs to work at taking the wall down without frightening the little monkey on your shoulder with the teeth. Right? That's why you chunk it down. So that when they come together, can you imagine when your soul and your ego are working in tandem together? It's powerful stuff. So, write down, make a list. When Edwene Gaines did this, her minister said, write down 100 things. Go sit somewhere and write down, free form. Don't think. Don't stop yourself. Don't say it could never happen because of this, or just write it down. Whatever it is, 100 things. And then go back and look at it and circle 5 that really feel good. Something you really know, this is what I would like to happen in my life. And then with that, pick the most important one. And maybe, if you're really bold, write a little narrative about when that actually happens. You're telling the universe, this is what my life will look like. This is what my life will feel like. This is the car I'm driving. This is the relationship. These are the friends I have. Got it? Feeling. Feeling is the juice. Feeling is the juice. So write it with feeling. And then every day, for goodness sakes, 15 minutes. You take an hour lunch. If you take a half-hour lunch, give 15 minutes to your higher self. 15 minutes every day. Pull that out, read it, look at it, make it yours. And then I promise magic will happen in your life. Because it's happened in mine when I've done this. Don't ask me why I stopped. You know, there's I can never remember the name of the book until after I'm talking about it. It's a small fishbowl and a large fishbowl, and the goldfish is jumping from one to the other. Guy Hendricks, I think, or Gary Simmons, one of the two wrote it, and it's about we all have our glass ceiling, every single one of us. And what happens is, so let's take a relationship. If I am in a fabulous relationship, and I have done this, so I know it's true. And I subconsciously, when we first started out, our first 5 or 6 years together, I would create havoc in our relationship because I didn't think I deserved it. Now, I didn't do it intentionally, and the first time I caught myself, what I said instead of being angry after he slammed the front door to the house and I slammed the door in the Jeep and I drove off and rah, 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 rah. And then it just came over me and I went, wow, you are a very powerful being. That you could take somebody like your husband, who is probably one of the kindest men I know, and turn him into a monster. Talent, my friend. Talent, talent, talent. Stop it. Right? It wasn't about him. So, if I can do that, okay, next Sunday, 250 people. Just saying. All right, so that's, any questions? All right, let's pray. And so right here and right now, what I know to be true is there is that divine essence. I choose to call it God. You can call it whatever you want to. Just know that it's there. It is part of who you are. It is the very essence in and through and as each one of us. None of us can go anywhere to be separate from us, whether we think we can or not. It's infinite. And so in knowing that, and that I am part of it, that it is all of me and I am a minuscule part of it, then what I know right here and right now for me and for everyone sitting in this room or out in the ethers on Facebook, each one of us has this opportunity right here and right now to claim our good, to write it down, to engage the universe, to know the truth of who we are, to say yes to ourselves, to say yes to this planet, to say yes to our family, say yes to our neighbors. It starts with us. And so that is what I know to be true. We give up the fear and replace it with the love. We give up the I can't and know that yes, I can. We allow ourselves to be bathed in that infinite wisdom and love that truly is the heart and soul of who we are and why we're here. And so I am so blessed to hold and know this truth for myself and for all of you right here and right now. I just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My promise right here is right now is I engage in the creative process of life. I think it, I write it down, and with that divine connection, I make it so. And so I turn it all over, knowing that as I release it, it is done. In the mind of God, it's already manifested. The physical form comes to me as I allow and open up and say yes to receive. So with that, I say thank you. I let it go, I let it be, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you all.